Welcome back to Anchor Designs. I'm James, and today we are kind of doing a part 2 of our ITECH table saw project. And today is going to be looking at the new dust extraction for the saw. So let's jump straight into it and get started. Okay, so if you haven't checked out the last video, I've recently purchased from Scott and Sargeant a 3 horsepower table saw. It's the 10-inch ITECH version, very similar to the SIP range. In fact, it's pretty much, or if not definitely, the same machine. With that, it's obviously making a lot of sawdust around here. So we've bought the dust extraction, and this is a 2 horsepower filter cartridge system, and it's also been kind of gone for the next stage, and I've bought the proper filter for it. So it's got the filter casing around it. Now, both of these machines are on a 16 amp supply, which is one of those blue 3-pin plugs that you've got. And please bear in mind that if you are looking at this, you'll either have to upgrade your services within your garage, workshop, whatever. And yeah, both of the machines came in pallets and really well packaged. I've just spent the last kind of 5-10 minutes with the assistance of the gaffer to actually unload these and break up all the polystyrene. There's a lot of stuff here, so it's definitely going to be a run to the tip. So we've unboxed everything, and let's take a close look at what we've got on the table. Okay, so what I like to do is lay everything out and then make sure that everything's here. And first straight thing off the bat is I've just gone through the operating/instruction manual, and unlike the table saw, this is excellent. So far anyway, it's got proper pictures of everything. Step 1, step 2, this is what I like to see. So this looks pretty straightforward. This looks a lot more intuitive than what the table saw was. So lay all your parts out, make sure you've got everything, anything you might need. This does come with some hoses, but I'm going to check out what we've got and coming in a little bit later on. Okay, I have no idea which ones go to which, so there should be 16. We're bolting on the casters first off, and I'm guessing it's these ones that are the Phillips head. Okay, so these are just some M5. The standard ones that it comes with are just the standard nuts. I'm going to get a bit snazzy and put some lock nuts on here because I've just got a thing for fasteners. And these always come loose, so I just want to make sure that these don't. Again, I'll reuse them for something else. Okay, so we've now got all of these casters put into place, and they went on really easily. It's just a 10mm spanner that you need. And now we're just going to put on the actual motor unit itself. It's a little bit heavy, so I might need someone to give you a bit of a hand here. And this is going to go that way. Okay, so we've got all the bolts now rested into place, and the instructions are a little bit dissimilar to what's actually in the box, but there's a cradle that the motor actually sits on. It just looks a little bit different to this, but these are going to line up with the holes on the base here, and then we're going to bolt this motor onto the side here, and just making sure that it's the correct orientation. So you want the mouth of the extractor to be rotated round into the same place as that. Okay, so we've bolted all of our casters onto the base here. Then you want to flip this round, and next we're going to be mounting the collector body onto the top face of the base. So these are just kind of these are punched holes with threads that have been put in. These are roll taps, and all I'm going to be doing here, because there's no way of actually fastening these securely, this is going to be vibrating quite a bit, so I'm just using some green Loctite here and just a little bit of dab just to keep that into place. Of course, putting the washer on first. Okay, I've got an apology. I'm sorry, guys. I followed the instructions as per, but what you should have done, because this isn't the same as that, is you should have bolted this together onto here. I mean, you can still do it this way, it's just a little bit more fiddly. So yeah, sorry, I have made a mistake there. Sorry, gents. And it's 13mm. once you've got the two at the top and the two from the base connected on, you're just going to be putting two, one in the other side and one in this side. And it's okay if you need to just jiggle this a little tiny bit to get this to fit into place. It's not going to hurt anything. Again, I'm going to Loctite these in because these are just a roll-formed thread. Okay, next off, you're going to want to put your 4.5-inch outfeed pipe onto here. You want to put your rubber seal onto the top. Easiest way is putting them in like so. Making sure that all your holes are correctly lined up. And they do come a little bit. If yours is really out of shape or bent, just get yourself a cup of hot water, pour it into like a bowl and put this in flat. And then just leave it for a little bit, and that will help straighten it out without damaging it. Now when you're tightening these up, it's only plastic, so you know you don't have to really go nuts on this. Once you've got everything, you just want to look down the pipe here, and you can see that everything is very, very evenly sealed in. Start from either corner and then work your way down with opposite bolt patterns. You know what I mean? Okay, so next off we're going to have to choose which one of these poles are corresponding to the next one, and I'm going to suggest it's these two here. So you've got one with a flattened edge here with two bolts, and then two with the foot exactly the same, like so. And then you've actually got a third one. So we'll take a look at that in a little bit. So you want these two next. Okay, you know how I mentioned that there's three? Well, there is three positions here on the base for three of these. So ignore what I just said, but the additional one that looks like exactly the same, I'm assuming is going to go in these three holes. There's only 3 bars that are shown in the instruction manual here, and the last one extends onto one of these faces, which is a hook for the top of the collector. So I would put the third one in. And this manual is only for the actual bag collector. If you've got the one like me with the filter, then this is probably what it's relating to. So the instructions are not quite clear. But we will proceed. Again, Loctite and bolt down into place. Okay, the next step is putting on your Jubilee clips here, and what I like to do is always kind of think, well, in future, how am I going to need to take this off? So you don't want to put it like in a really daft place. I would put it somewhere that is serviceable and easy to get to. So I'm going to put it on the inside near the stop button. Just a quick point that this has got no torque at all, so it's not going to hurt anything. Just don't use like a 1/2-inch impact gun. Okay, sorry about the freehand camera, but the one with the hook on is you want that side to go pointing inwards where the infeed is, the air intake I should say. What I've done is these threads here, there's like only 2 threads per side here. So I'm going to just roughly put this, because I'm working on my own, is roughly put these in, Loctite the bottom ones in, take the top ones out, Loctite those ones back in. So just working on your own, bear it in mind. Okay, once you've got everything bolted on, again, just connect up the pipe onto the top here, pretty straightforward. Now, if you've upgraded like I have, which is the big HEPA filter, then it's sometimes, well, the instructions kind of stop there from what I can see. So I've got this, I don't know what's inside it, maybe parts.
One eternity later.
Whew. Right, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on the top first and try and work. Got these. Okay, so this is the filter on the top. I'm figuring this out as I go along. Comes with a small selection of fasteners here. What you'll have, if it's anything like mine, is you've got one side here that the threads have been ground down on, and it's kind of that half shape. So that's going to key into the top piece, which is your handle. So that is obviously going to nest inside there, tighten down, and that's going to be at the top. So you want to take it out of there, slide this back in, being very careful. Put it through the hole in the middle. And then somehow right, tell a lie, there is instructions with this. So quite simple, straightforward stuff. You want the top of the filter that's got a lid on it to go vertically, of course. The filter, I believe, is already inside of it here, but the instructions state, install the wide strip of the inside top rim of the collector, which looks like you get a roll of foam, which is over there for me. All right, I'll walk you through it. Nice. I've made a balls up. Right, so you don't need the ones at the top here. You don't need the handle if you've got this one. There was no instructions, give me a break. Oh God. Right, I'm just going to feel round that seal and make sure that it feels pretty good. Awesome. Oh, I need more mates. So before I do that, wow, that is really fiddly. Right, if you're on your own like I am, just a little tip here is to go round, put some tape on, just a bit of masking tape, be quite gentle with it. Okay, and then you can bring your band up. And we've got the bag completely sealed on here. You can take the tape off if it, you know, if it bothers you, but there we are. Dead easy. Okay, one of the next pieces that you've got to do, we're nearly done now, is have a screw at the top. Just take that out, line this up on the top here. Okay, now the next bit, I've just done this, which was a bit weird because I thought this should be sealed because this does move quite a bit around here. But what might be worth just doing is using a bit of duct tape on here just to seal around that edge, which is, it is duct tape, so yeah, it is meant for this type of stuff. But yeah, that is a little bit, I think that's going to annoy me, to be honest. So that's what I'm going to do here. Wow, that's amazing. Oh, I've not figured this out yet. Okay, let's talk positioning. So this is the table saw that you saw in the last video, and this is just the extraction here. So it's quite nice that I've got my start button here, and I've got the start button next to each other on the extractor. And I'm also very fortunate that I've got two 16 amp supplies just here. I've still got to put the cable on this. And what is quite nice as well is because it's on the wheels, is I can move this at the back, and I've got this Y connector piece onto here. Now that bend admittedly isn't ideal, and I might come up with something. I can 3D print an adapter perhaps, and then the this section is going to go in here very easily. Now if I'm wood turning, I've got the wheel kit, so I can just push this out of the way, and I can take this port off of here and I can put it directly under the back of the wood lathe. Excuse the mess. So that's my setup, and I've still got access at the side here for my plugs, etc. So I'm lucky that I've had that layout, but you might not be so lucky. But this is, again, the shorter the pipe on the dust extraction, then the better, of course. But it's quite nice that I've got access to this being down here. Okay, although this blade in particular does recommend for plywood that you lift up kind of like half the amount of the gullet from the blade, just lowering the blade so the teeth are just sticking out from the top of this 18mm plywood helps massively. So just taking that off and not even having this external hose does improve it quite a bit. What I'll say as well is I know that people like Keith at Rag and Bone Brown He did a very similar kind of review on a similar kind of saw, and he uses a different extractor, so he uses a separate one. I think it's like a cam vac that he hooks up his machine to. I didn't really want to do that, but I think this could be improving quite a bit. I think reducing the size of this, the length of the hose would be a bit of an increase, and I think perhaps 3D printing a bit better of an inlet because there's a lot of 90-degree bends and folds in here. But I'd say I'm pretty happy. I mean, from what it was an absolute snowblower before, but it's not too loud. It's pretty instant. It feels pretty strong. So, and it's got the filter on the top. So, you know, look after your lungs. So the ITECH dust extractor for the ITECH table saw. What do I think? Yeah. Okay, it's future me. It's been 4 and a bit weeks actually, and I have shorter hair now, but I wanted to kind of have this video ready, and I wanted to leave it a little bit of time because I knew I'd be changing some things as we were kind of progressing and using it a bit more. What do I think? I like it a lot. I use it all the time, and where I've put it is ideal for me. So it's right next to the saw, and it's serviceable, and it's on wheels, and it's tidy, and I'm happy with it. There's nothing wrong with it at all. What I've changed is completely fixtures, how things have been working on it, but it's not missed a beat. I've been ripping down shelves and stuff for organising the missus's cupboards, and it is performing really well. And in the video I was having a bit of an overblast, or whatever you want to call it, of just dust coming out of the front and then in between the track grooves. And what I've found, if you kind of raise up the blade just slightly, just under kind of the gullet is just kind of showing, the base of that gullet is it's actually extracting the material a lot better. And for whatever reason, now that the bag's filled up a little bit, it seems to work a bit more. I don't know if that's a thing or there's some sort of science behind that, but now that the bag's got quite a bit of weight in the bottom, what I was finding is as the bag was kind of flapping all over the place, it was probably messing up with the cyclone effect. But now it's got some weight in the bottom, it's working even better than it was before. Very happy. My lungs still work, so let's take a closer look at actually what I've kind of changed and done, and then we're done for the video, and you can go and about your day. So look. Okay, so those of you who are on my Instagram, you'll kind of know that I've got a 3D printer. So as I've been working on the table saw and messing around with it, I've printed some magnetic holders here, which I'll give you some close-ups. And what this just allows you to do is quick take-off things. So I've connected this and I've plumbed in some pipework into the back of my wood lathe, which is helping out massively. And I've since got a little toolbox that goes at the side so I can store the majority of my stuff. Now, the pipe that comes off to here, and that's the blade guard, bit naughty of me, I know, but I've taken that off for the majority of stuff that I do. I will use it, I will. But I've found it was a bit more of a hindrance, and then trying to connect a vacuum cleaner up to the top of it, and to be honest, the dust extraction was working more. Well, it was working fine without it. So I've capped off this top just with some tape. I'll make an end cap for it eventually on the 3D printer, but I'm liking this. I can connect it onto there, not worry about it, and then if I'm working on this and not using the saw, I can just kind of lay it down out of the way, and it's great. So that's working for me absolutely fine. So I suppose if you're watching this, you've probably watched the table saw video, and again, it's been about 6 weeks since I've set up the table saw, and I've had no problems at all. I'm actually chuffed to bits with it, and I've been kind of looking at more things and sleds and, you know, the typical table saw video type thing I've been watching, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm glad I went for this and not kind of the portable type job shop saw, and it works in the flow with the worktop really well. I've just been covering over the top with some matting and keeping an eye that there's no kind of moisture. I'm looking, my workshop is really dry, so so far I've had no kind of rusty surfaces, which is quite good. Again, this has been fine, absolutely faultless, and the main kind of negativities that I'd have with this is probably just me. I must admit, this has been probably one of the hardest videos for me to actually put on YouTube because I looked a bit of a Burke. But I suppose it's, you know, it was the first one I've ever done, so I'm sorry if I come across a bit of a muppet. But again, I wanted to kind of give you that honest, open, maybe how to, maybe you got something out of it type thing. And, you know, it's working really well for me. It probably took me a day to assemble and finish. As I say, now there's a bit of weight in the bag, it works a little bit more better. I've probably cut down 3 plywood boards on this and done some hardwood ripping. The blade changes are a bit fiddly, bit of a fart around, but isn't any table saw or any kind of circular saw a pain in the arse to change the blade. I'm going to stop talking. I'm happy, we're good, I'm still using it, I'm happy. I like the fence on the table saw, I like the extractor, and I like these magnetic 3D printed cups that I've been using. I didn't design them, they're very common, they're just someone's copied it of someone else and copied of someone else, and it's working well for me. It's just used some magnets. So I'll leave a link if you have got a 3D printer. I'll leave a link to that in the description, and you can fill your boots. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Thank you.